is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Liberation Front condemns the actions of armed authorities on the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. According to the MNLF, the Davao City State Chairman said violent acts, if proven true, are deemed unacceptable and violate the Islamic doctrine. Meanwhile, many Filipinos are in favor of 3 Dutertes gunning for senatorial seats in the upcoming midterm elections. According to a former palace official, these voters are longing for a Duterte brand of leadership amid the rising cases of criminality and drugs. Also tonight, conflicting statements on the latest Ayungin Shoal incident in the West Philippine Sea, a product of PBBM's weak leadership. According to a political writer and commentator, the president's silence on the issue is tarnishing the country's international image. And for our top global stories, Julian Assange is home at last, following more than a decade-long saga to dodge extradition after exposing American war crimes. The WikiLeaks founder and whistleblower is back in Australia after securing a plea deal with the US. And the United Nations raises alarm over the devastating flood in Brazil that displaced 500,000 people, killed dozens, and submerged various infrastructures. According to the UN, the climate catastrophe in the South American country is warning to the world. I'm Frederico Velloso, and Newsline World starts now. First in the news, some indigenous people in Kitbog, Malungon, Sarangani province shared their harassment ordeal at the hands of police who forcibly removed them from their homes. Hannah Jane Sancho reports.
The peaceful life of the Bilaan tribe in Kitbog, Malungon, Sarangani was violently disrupted when armed PNP staff suddenly entered their community, forcibly displacing them from their homes. Their peace was shattered, replaced by intense fear. The armed authorities did not even consider the elderly and those living in their homes. Others were exhausted from a day's work in the mountains.
Sa akong pananaw sa ilaha kanang murag makalagot ko sa ilaha ba. Nga murag dili tama sa kuan sa ilang ginahimo. Dapat kung musaka sila pahibalo o kanang buntag ba kanang adlaw nga dili gabi gyud.
The authorities showed utter disregard and completely heartless as they ignored the pleas of senior citizens to refrain from forcibly evicting them from their homes because of their health concerns.
Pagawas, kinaing pusilo, gawas ka na, gawas. Sakit mong ulo ko, sel. Sige, gawas ka. Sakit ulo, nako. Naman ito. Hadlok nako. Sige. Gawas ka, gawas. Oo. Sige, ang fusil, sige. Sige ka na, gawas. Kung kakulba-kulbaan yun, kay siyempre, karon pa may makakita nga anak mi. Sa ilaha nga pag kuan sa ako, nangisugman ko kay gikalinturahan ko tong time. Kay namugos man sila, sige, ayo, gawas mo ma'am. Gawas mo ma'am, nag-ingon ko sa sulod sa balay. Unsa man di ay. Sige, gawas mo diha. Pag abri na ako sa portahan, gaana ang duha sa tumong sa kuha nga pusil. Ang duha, kay upat man sila, ang duha nilahos man sila sa ilang nga balay. Ang duha, mauto nga nagdalag flashlight. Nag-ingon sila nga, pila mo sulod sa balay, ingon ako, duha lang mi, akong pagumangkon nga lalaki. Sige, pukawa kay gawas mo.
Sabi ng pulis na 24. Sabi ng pulis, kinasabi ko yung bar niya. Sabi niya sa akin, dyan ka lang sir, huwag kang, dyan ka lang. Tawagan mo lang yung mga kapatid mo at mama mo. Tapos yung isa, sabi ng isang pulis, ingat kasi may tao sa loob. Yung mama ko saka yung kasi natakot po sila eh.
Ang ilahang gikuan niya, wala gid sila dili gid maayo ilang gihimo kay nang hadlok ang mga tao. Ultimo bisag sa ako ni kuan gid kog trauma.
Kaya dito sa balay, gipagawas nila ang mga bata, pugos mi nila gawas. Yung mga bata, nagsigig hila, kaya nangita sa kuha.
Pagkanaog mi, ginasudlan ang among mga balay, kay nag-ingon sila nga basig na amay tago po diri. Pero nag-ingon po mi diri, wala may tago diri. Wala may compromise.
Ingon ako nga, unsa inyo hang tuyo diri sir, inyo nga naani pangita. Unsa pangita ninyo diri nga wala may tao, lain tao diri nagpuyo. Ingon niya nga, sige lang kay mao man yung order gikan sa taas nga kada balay kining dapit diri sudlon jud namo ni nga pati sa sulod sa balay amo ang sudlan. Ha, dili baya unta nga pwede nga mosulod mo sa balay nya gabi ipagyod.
The community of the Blaan tribe was disturbed by PNP staff officers in full battle gear as they searched for Pastor Apollo Siquibloy because his church is near the community. The police showed no documents as proof that they could enter the homes of the Blaan. They have no other information about the search. The real target of the authorities was the KOJC religious compound in Kitbog. They searched every corner of it. Cecilia, not her real name, recalled the events of June 10 when the authorities forcibly entered the compound.
Gabot nila din sa compound, wali nag-ikot sila tanan, pati sa mga room tanan, gipang-abrehan nila. Gipa-abrigid nila sa mua, pati itong dito sa SQCM, ilag yung gipa-abre sa mua tanang area. Pati CR gani, ilang gisipa. Gisipa nila ang CR kay nawala ang susi. So ilag itong ipugos o abre. Sila mismo nagsipa sa CR, kay para lang yun maabrehan ang CR. Giikot nilang KLC, pati ang CR, ilang pong giikot. Basta walay kuan diri nga wala nila giabrihan. Wala gid sila nakitaan.
The indigenous people cannot understand why they have to suffer this way, given that they know Pastor Apollo as a good person. The Blaans in Kitbog played an important role in the spiritual journey of Pastor Apollo Siquibloy, and this is where his training began before the kingdom of Jesus Christ grew. It was in the 70s when Pastor Apollo first came to Kitbog, and the indigenous people regarded him as a true brother. Some Blaan shared how they lived before they had encountered Pastor Apollo in their place.
Ang kinabuhi namo diri sa una kining dapit sa Kitbog lisod ban gud ni siya. Nga taas kayo mga istorya ba kung atong ginahisgutan nga taas kayo mga istorya nga tungod sa kalisod. Una-una kanang dalan o kanang mga panginabuhi namo diri na may mga panginabuhi pero lisod na magpagawas sa malungon kay simple ang dalan namo lisod kaayo kabayo lang gikan diri malukto malungon. Upat ka oras ang baklay namo diri magkabayo abot sa malungon.
So the Blaan tribe is very grateful when Pastor Apollo returns to their community.
Maayo na inyo hang lugar karon kay nana si pastor. Tinuod jud maayo kay sa unang panahon lisod kaayo kanang mga pine tree, mga bulak, wala man ni dire nya karon nga nana si pastor. Maayo namang kuan pagpuyo dire.
On May 29, 2023, the Blaan tribe of Kitbog confirmed and recognized Pastor Apollo as Datu Tudlabun, which means access to heaven or bridge to heaven.
Maayo kaayo tung naa na si pastor diri. Sa una, kining Kitbog, gubot kaayo. Kaning isa ka tuig tag, murag tag tulo ka beses nga na makwit mi. Kay giagianan man ni sa mga bandido, mga kawatan, mga magpinatyanay nga mga tao. Nya karon pag-abot na ni pastor diri, ang mga bandido na bag-o sila sa ilang kaugalingon.
Unsay gihimo ni pastor diri sa mua, grabe ang yang tabang diri sa mua, mga lumulupyo diri. Sa unang panahon, way dalan, way suga, way tubig. Kung naami produkto, pasano na mo padulog malungon, naami isda, paliton, inigabot diri, dubok na. Kay tungod sa kalayo, way dalan. Si pastor naghatag mo ang dalan, naisakyan na mo diha, anytime nga naay magsakit sa mga community, andam ang among area nga mo andam ang among sakyanan nga mohatod dito sa baba, mohatod sa ospital. So dili maabtan nga mamatay ang pasyente sa dalan. Kay nanay dalan, si pastor nagtabang og sakyanan. Niya ang mga tao diri sa palibot, mga bandido sa una, karon nagbag-o gyud sila.
Roads, electricity, water. These are just few of the basic needs that the government should prioritize for our indigenous brothers and sisters in the Blaan community in Kitbog. However, it was Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy who took the lead in providing these because of his love for others without exception.
For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Tribal leaders in Mindanao plan to discuss the violent raid conducted by the PNP SAF and CIDG in their community. This follows the warrant of arrest served on Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy in Tamayo, Davao City, and Kitbog, Sarangani Province. An IP leader in Mindanao is questioning President Bongbong Marcos' sincerity in respecting indigenous rights and whether the law still holds in the country. Details from Jade Calabroso.
Filipinos continue to express anger over human rights violations under the Marcos administration. Recently, the indigenous sector suffered police brutality during an attempt to arrest Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and others on June 10, 2024. According to Dato' Lipatuan Joel Unad, chairman of the Mindanao Indigenous Peoples Council of Elders, the Philippine National Police Special Action Force and Criminal Investigation and Detection Group raid on their communities in Sitio Kitbog, Malungon, Sarangani, and Glory Mountain in Tamayong, Davao City raises significant questions.
Malaking tanong. Kung yung ginagawa ng ating kapulisan o sa ating gobyerno sa treatment doon sa mga tribo, dahil sa paghahanap kay Pastor Kibuloy, na yun ang attitude nila, ang tanong nila, ano yan? Nasa batas ba yung ganong approach nila? May mandate ba yun na ganon talaga ang gawin ng mga kapulisan natin? Na kahit yung mga tribo na walang alam-alam?
The police lacked a search warrant and some of the affected areas were outside the religious compound of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. A member of the Blaan tribe died from fear after witnessing police violence and being forcibly evicted from their homes. KOJC missionaries, members of the Bagobo Klata tribe in Glory Mountain, were dragged, kicked, and handcuffed during the raid. Indigenous community leaders are deeply concerned about these actions, which felt akin to terrorist attacks.
Parang hindi na matanggap na sinasabi na, sabi na ang may approach lang na gano'n, ang terorista ng NPA. Bakit ngayon yun ang maramdaman ng tribo?
Dato' Unad posed a direct question to President Bongbong Marcos Jr. about the government's treatment of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy and their sector.
Direct question kay PBBM. Ito ba talaga ang attitude ni PBBM to approach sa tribo na andyon sa teritoryo na peaceful na teritoryo? So yun bang kalat-karin ang mga tao, takutin ang mga tao? Isa bang batas yan? In behalf sa 18 major tribes sa the whole Mindanao, talagang that is part of discrimination yung ginagawa talaga sa officer ng PNP. Kung ito with mandate order ng PBBA, i-consider namin na si Presidente Marcos, malaki siyang parte dito. Saan na ang batas?
Dato' Unad emphasized Pastor Apollo's importance to the indigenous peoples, granting him a sacred name.
Sa lahat, alam man ninyo, si Pastor Kibuloy, minamahal natin, adopted name yung tatawag, Dato' Pamulingan, pinaka-sensitive yan at saka pinakasagrado.
Pastor Apollo is honored and recognized by the Obu Manuvo tribe as Dato' Pamulingan and by the Blaan tribe as Dato' Tudlabon, meaning access to heaven as a sign of respect and acceptance into their community. Meanwhile, Dato' Unad mentioned the IP leaders across Mindanao are planning to meet and discuss about the Marcos administration's violations of their rights, especially those who were victims of June 10th incident. They will also discuss the next steps to hold authorities accountable for their actions. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNA News.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla will continue to push for an investigation into the PNP operations at the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ in Davao City. MJ Mandahar reports.
Para sa akin naman pati ba naman mga bata, mga nadamay na, pati...
Senator Robin Padilla sighed deeply as he recalled the fate of the members and workers of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ when the PNP, CIDG, and Special Action Forces raided their religious compounds in Davao City and Sarangani Province. The violent raids conducted by the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation Group and Special Action Forces took place on June 10, 2024, a date etched in the memories of KOJC members. To this day, many who witnessed the PNP operation still experience severe trauma and anxiety, especially children who are now afraid to be left at home, worried that the police might raid again. Senator Padilla warned that such violent operations not only harm those directly affected, but also damage the international image of the Philippines.
Sinabi ko na hindi magiging maganda para sa mata ng mga Pilipino at ng mga dayuhan na makita na meron tayong ganitong klaseng enforcement sa loob ng simbahan.
As a Muslim public servant, Senator Padilla expresses deep pain over the desecration of places of worship because, similar to Islamic culture, places of prayer are sacred and should be respected.
Medyo para sa akin masakit sa mata yun. Hindi yun dapat nangyayari. Lalo na at nakita natin na mga naka-combat.
Senator Padilla is eager to bring the investigation of the PNP operations at the KOJC religious compounds in Davao City to the Senate. He tasked Senator Ronald De La Rosa's Committee in Public Order and Dangerous Drugs to probe the matter in aid of legislation.
Pag-usapan lang. Wala naman akong gustong awayin Ako lang gusto ko pag-usapan natin. Ba't nangyari to?
KOJC lawyers have questioned whether the PNP would conduct such violent operations at other churches, such as Catholic and Muslim places of worship.
Sana sa usapin na to, ihiwalay natin ang simbahan. Respetuhin natin yung simbahan. Kung ang problema natin, kung kumbaga, ang issue ng gobyerno ay si Pastor Apollo. Si Pastor Apollo, Tibuloy ang issue natin. Hindi yung buong kingdom. Yun ako na nabigla.
These challenging times for the nation, Senator Padilla urged the administration to focus on addressing bigger issues. He called on the public to support the government instead of actions that could divide Filipinos.
Parang hindi ito yung panahon. Meron tayong pinagdadaanan sa external problem natin. Dapat sa internal wala tayong ganito. Wala tayong ganito, mga kababayan. Dapat sa mga kababayan natin, dapat okay tayo. Doon tayo maging unang okay sa kababayan natin.
For Ganubal of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Up next, the death toll from the devastating earthquake that struck central Japan on New Year's Day could rise to 300 as authorities uncover more indirect fatalities. And the Manila Regional Trial Court issues a gag order prohibiting the Department of Justice as well as the camps of Digamo and Teves from discussing the Digamo murder in public. More news when Newsline World returns.
Abangan ng Banateros tuwing Lunes hanggang Huwebes, live dito lang sa SMNI.
Yan ang Banateros, walang inuurungan. Pag tama palakpakan, pag mali ay babanatan. Yan ang Banateros.
Kung akong tatanungin, kahit saang aspeto, gusto ko garantisado. Metikuloso akong tao, kaya gusto ko lahat maayos at sigurado. Lahat quality, yung hindi ako makukompromiso pero sulit ang presyo. Ganyan ang Clean Fuel, kaya dito panatag ang loob ko. ng dekalidad na gasolina pero sulit ang halaga, mag-clean fuel ka.
Magandang umaga Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Maayong buntag mga kapartner. Magandang araw sa buong mundo.
Magandang araw Pilipinas. Ito ang Pulso ng Bayan.
Hihimayin ang mga pangunahing issue sa ating bayan. Susuriin ang mga kinakailangang malaman ng taong bayan. Aalamin ang pulso ng bawat Pilipino sa mga pangyayari sa ating lipunan. Pulso ng Bayan, alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga, tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Kasama ang spokes ng Bayan, Attorney Harry Roque, Admar Vilado at Jade Calabroso. Dito lang sa SMNI.
Back in the news, the conflicting statements from President Bongbong Marcos officials regarding the latest skirmish between China and the Philippines at the Ayungin Shoal are an embarrassment to the international community. For a political commentator and writer, the country's chief architect should speak out about such pressing issues. MJ Mondehar reports.
Tensions flared again between Chinese and Filipino troops during a resupply mission at the Ayungin Shoal on June 17. The incident, reported by major newspapers worldwide, saw a Filipino soldier lose a thumb in a collision between vessels from the two countries. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin initially stated that the deployment of Filipino troops to the area was merely a misunderstanding. He also clarified that the incident in the West Philippine Sea is not considered an armed attack. However, Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro contradicted Bersamin's statement, asserting that the incident was not a misunderstanding but an overreach by China. Teodoro also called China's aggressive harassment a deliberate act. Political commentator Elmer Hugalbot questioned the conflicting statements from President Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s cabinet.
What happened during the last few days after the June 17 incident, nakakahiya talaga sa international community.
Secretary Teodoro had previously said that Executive Secretary Bersamin's statement was preliminary on the issue. But for Hugalbot, President Marcos' weak leadership is a reason for the conflicting statements.
You have all these high-ranking officials flip-flopping on their statements, looking like headless chickens, running around in circles, while the chief diplomat and the commander-in-chief is acting like an ostrich burying his head under the sun.
Hugalbot remarked that had the president promptly commented on the issue, it would have provided guidance to his deputies on the appropriate handling of the incident.
Incidents of this magnitude require the immediate and urgent attention of the president. And in fact, until now, hindi mo pa naririnig mismo ang presidente, who is the chief architect of our foreign policy.
The Department of Foreign Affairs is now taking steps to address the situation with China through diplomatic channels regarding the WPS. For Ganabal of Philippines, I'm Jem Ondihak, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Duterte shook up the political world after announcing the Duterte family's plans for the upcoming midterm elections, according to a political strategist. A Malacanang official also mentioned that the public cannot be blamed for their excitement about having 3 Dutertes in the Senate based on VP Sara's announcement. Here are the details from Jason Rubico.
SMNI News gauged the opinions of several citizens in Metro Manila regarding Vice President Sara Duterte's latest announcement that former President Rodrigo Duterte, Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte, and 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte plan to run for the Senate in the upcoming 2025 midterm elections. Most respondents expressed happiness and support for the 3 Dutertes running in the next election.
Ay okay na okay po ako dyan. Talagang ako dyan kung tatakbo sila. Para sa akin kasi nakita ko dati nung Pangulo si President Rodrigo Duterte, talagang ang ganda ng ng Pilipinas. Walang mga, alam mo na yung droga, talagang humina yon. Hindi talaga katulad ngayon napaka, lantaran eh. Talagang ako doon, 2 kamay ako doon, thumbs up talaga ako.
Dapat ibalik talaga. Talaga na sila dapat ang bubutuhan. Isipin mo ngayon, ikukumpara mo ngayon at saka ang papa niya noon na nakaupo, lahat ng mga nagsasyabo, lahat po yung dyan, hindi po makikita. Pero ngayon, harap-harapan kahit mga anak ko nakikita nila.
Okay naman po yun para sa akin. Nawala yung mga kriminal, mga adik. Ngayon, ang dami na naman na nakaano sa kalsada
Mas gusto ko nga sa kanila kasi nung time na sila yung namumuno, nabawasan ng mga yung mga addict sa kalsada, yung mga hold-upper, nabawasan talaga. Kung para sa akin, mas pabor ako na tumakbo bilang senador or presidente. Pwede kasi kaya naman nila Kailangan ng kami na bakal kasi lalo na sa amin, mga taxi driver. Oo, alanganing oras kami bumibiyahe, inaabot kami ng alanganing oras.
Mas okay nga yun, sir para may balik yung dati. Para maging ulit yung pamumuhay ng mga tao. Maging okay ulit. Masyadong crisis ngayon kasi mataas yung mga bilihin. Mas maganda pag may Duterte, mababa yung mga bilihin at mataas yung sahod. Safe pa yung mga tao.
Gustong-gusto ko si Duterte kasi nakakaminos po kami sa bigas. Sa gastusin po noon. Dapat talaga Duterte ang bumoto natin.
Sa akin gusto kong mabalik si Duterte kasi okay naman yung mamalakad niya.
Malaki naman ang nabago ng Pilipinas dahil kay Pangulong Duterte. Okay.
Okay naman po, masaya. Kasi marami rin naman po siyang natanggal ng mga, katulad ng mga kriminal, ng mga drug addict.
According to former Malacanang spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque, the public can't be blamed for being excited about having 3 Dutertes in the Senate, especially since they have experienced the Duterte brand of leadership.
Na-excite ang ating mga kababayan na magkaroon ng 3 Duterte sa Senado dahil alam mo, pansinin mo mga usapan palagi ng taong bayan nung panahon ni Duterte. Alam mo, ako talaga sinasabi ko sa kanila, tapos na yung panahon ni Duterte. Pero masisisi mo ba sila? Kasi nung panahon ni Duterte, may kapayapaan sa mga komunidad. Nung panahon ni Duterte, na talagang halos nawala na ang banta ng droga. Nung panahon ni Duterte, napakasigla na ating ekonomiya. Nung panahon ni Duterte, mapayapa ang West Philippine Sea at maunlad ang ating bayan dahil sa mas malakas na kalakalan.
Roque added that one reason for the public's excitement is their disappointment with the Marcos administration, especially the unfulfilled promise like the 20 peso rise.
So masisisi mo ba na talagang hinahanap-hanap ng tao ang Duterte?
Roque also mentioned that the Duterte family is not power-hungry but rather trusted because they have proven their leadership capabilities. As for a political strategist, Vice President Sara Duterte shook up the political world with her latest announcement.
Parang tectonic ano bang rank yan? Kasi nananahimik tayo, lahat nag-iisip ano ba ang dahilan kung bakit nag-resign. Tapos nung finally nagsalita, 3 Duterte ang tatakbo. Sabi ko, ba talaga nga naman, nung dati hirap na hirap tayong kumbinsihin yung ilan dyan, ngayon 3 ang tatakbo sa Senado at may isang gustong nagnanais sa 2028.
Malutikia also added that Vice President Duterte's announcement about their family's plans for the upcoming midterm elections was not premature.
Malapit-lapit na yung October 8. Sa tingin ko yan critical announcement. Yung 2028 medyo malayo-layo pa. Pero kung si Mayor Baste nagpapahiwatig ng interes, abay maganda rin yan. Sa tingin ko, minemeasure nila publicly ano ang reaction ng tao. Of course, nahahati yan. Merong maka-Duterte at merong ayaw ang Duterte.
Meanwhile, Vice President Duterte shared that her mother, Elizabeth Zimmerman, said that Mayor Baste Duterte would run for president in the 2028 elections. But the question is the younger Duterte ready to lead the country?
So sa tingin ko naman ay pwede na yan, no, na isang termino bilang mayor, 3 taon bilang senador, handa na rin siya. No? At hindi lang yan, no, dahil siya ay lumaki na bilang Duterte, na napaligiran siya ng mga taong naglilingkod, no, mula sa ama niya hanggang doon sa kanyang ate. No? Matindi paninindigan niya. Kung magsalita yan, pipikit ka, parang ama niya nagsasalita, walang pagkakaiba.
For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
Vice President Sara Duterte's surprise news about 3 Dutertes running for senator in the upcoming 2025 Philippine midterm elections is still the talk of the town, something that revived not only the Filipino public but also a former government official. According to this person, 3 Dutertes in the Senate will be a huge problem for those in government who are guilty of dereliction of duty. This story from Sara Santos.
Three Dutertes are running for senator in the next Philippine elections. Are the people ready for this? Are the critics of the Dutertes also ready for this? Vice President Sara Duterte broke the surprise news while she was in Cagayan de Oro City recently, and people across the Philippines have not stopped talking about it. Former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo immediately reacted to this and warned that this could become a political storm that the detractors may not be able to contain nor survive. On the other hand, Attorney Panelo highlighted that the Filipino people were very much revived by the Vice President's announcement.
Alam mo, malaking bagay ito at yung mga tao, matagal nang inaantay nila mabalik na brand of Duterte leadership. Kaya nabuhayan sila. Di ba, matagal na silang nalulungkot sa pagdawala ng Presidente Duterte. Pero ngayon, masayang-masaya sila at babalik na ulit.
Attorney Panelo added that whether the Marcos Jr. administration likes it or not, it cannot avoid being compared by the public to the Duterte administration.
Ala siguro ang mga Duterte wala na. Tandaan nila na ang Pangulong Duterte hanggang ngayon ay napakalakas ng kanyang trust and popularity rating. At ang mga tao, whether you like it or not, nagkukumpara sa naging administrasyon ng Pangulong Duterte at ang administrasyon naman ng pangkasalukuyan. At it's sorry to say na talagang nagsasapit ang pangkasalukuyang administrasyon kung ikukumpara mo sa panahon ni Duterte.
Panelo couldn't help but comment that some people will surely not be happy once 3 Dutertes come to power.
Sigurado, ito parang demolition team to. Pag sila'y nahalal, ay may problema ngayon. yung mga may atraso sa bayan.
It's no secret that the Duterte brand of leadership is far different from others. Panelo has also repeatedly mentioned that Vice President Duterte has her own way of thinking and style of leadership. He said Filipinos know that the Dutertes have a political wit. They are honest, they speak frankly, and have nothing to hide, which is why they are much loved by the masses and are greatly sought after. However, there are some people that fear having a political dynasty in the event that Vice President Duterte's recent announcement comes true. Based on track records in the Philippines, there are constituencies that did not show much development after a government official is replaced by his or her spouse, son or daughter, and even other relatives. But for Attorney Panelo, the people have nothing to worry about in the event that the Dutertes hold multiple government positions simultaneously.
Doon sa lugar ng Davao, nakita naman na dati, ang patayan doon araw-araw. Pagkatapos, walang progreso. Pero nung ginawa ka ng Duterte yan, siya na ngayon sa pinaka magaling na syudad at kung saan ay mapayapa ang mga tao na namumuhay ng walang takot sa kanilang mga puso. At saka nakita mo naman na maunlad na ang Davao ngayon. Their records speak for themselves. Kaya tatanggapin sila ng taong bayan.
For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Sara Santos, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, the Manila Regional Trial Court issued a gag order to the Justice Department and the camps of Teves and Digamo regarding the Digamo murder case. Margaret Gonzalez reports.
During the hearing at Manila Regional Trial Court on Wednesday, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, the Teves camp and Digamo's camp were instructed to refrain from commenting or speaking about the merits of the Digamo case. DOJ spokesperson ASEC Nico Clavino meanwhile explained that their comments regarding the case are solely to counter misinformation circulating on social media or in the news.
Well, wala naman pong prior incident dito sa gag order. There has just been a lot of chatter on social media. And again, ang dahilan doon ay kami, nagsasalita lang naman kami dahil may lumalabas na hindi tama. So we feel that it's our obligation and mandate to correct certain notions that have been put out on social media and media para po tama ang makukuha ng publiko.
Still, the DOJ assured that they would comply with the Manila RTC's gag order, emphasizing that discussions about the case should be left to the court. ASEC Clavino hopes that Teves camp will also adhere to the court's directive.
We welcome the gag order by the judge. We think it is very prudent and diligent for him to issue such an order. And kami susunod po kami because we would rather battle it out in court. Yun naman talaga ang sinasabi natin from the start na ang tamang venue, ang tamang channel at forum dito ay ang korte mismo. Kaya hindi na dapat tayo magsasalita sa social media, sa mainstream media, sa kung saan-saan pa.
According to Clavino, due to the gag order, they will no longer release any statements regarding the merits of the case.
Itong gag order na ito, it will prevent us now from speaking about the merits of the case. So we hope that all parties will respect the gag order and make sure that they follow kung ano yung naging order ng court.
Clavino also said that even the Digamo camp will notify the gag order of the Manila RTC.
The last thing we would like to do, ma'am, is to offend the judge. So, ano po talaga tayo?
Meanwhile, former Congressman Arnie Teves Jr. remains in Timor-Leste despite being released from house arrest there. However, he still cannot leave the country until the court decides on the Philippine government's extradition request against the former congressman. Mrs. Janice Digamo, on the other hand, continues to seek justice for her slain husband without wavering.
We are trying to hold on to our hope na mapapauwi talaga yung the mastermind of the killing.
For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Margaret Gonzalez, SMNI News.
Attention to all delivery riders. Be vigilant, as there are reports that delivery riders are unknowingly being used to transport illegal drugs. What might seem like a regular parcel could contain illegal substances. In Kansas City, a seminar has been conducted to help riders avoid becoming involved and falling victim to this scheme. Amar Fosuelo will give us the details.
During the pandemic, many of us were afraid to leave our homes due to the highly contagious and deadly COVID-19. At that time, Filipinos had no choice but to follow the numerous lockdown orders in every barangay. Some people seized the opportunity to become delivery riders. From food to essential items, everything was ordered online, making it a convenient trend as people avoided leaving home. Online shopping was a trend during those times. For those who turned to delivery riding, it offered income. At a time when face-to-face work was restricted, including Ben, who started during the pandemic and continues today. He is aware of his job's challenges, like road dangers and extreme weather conditions. But aside from these challenges, delivery riders also worry about being used to deliver illegal drugs. In an interview with SMNI News, Ben shared how criminals once exploited his son.
Lalo na yung anak ko, rider. Nakuha niya sa Makati. Tapos dinala niya sa bandang Pampanga. Oo. Pero kinabahan yung anak ko, manika lang yung yung dadali niya, regalo, naka-package yun. Pero pagdating doon, tago yung mga pupuntahan nila. Tapos nung pag-deliver niya, laki ng binayad sa kanya. Halos triple.
Ano daw naman doon?
Alam na niya illegal yun. Drugs na talaga. Kasi sabi nung mga nadaanan niya ron, nagbaksak na naman kayo dyan, sabi ganun.
That's why he is extra careful when receiving and delivering parcels.
Ako maingat ako dahil lalo na yung mga illegal na ganyan. Kaya pinag-isipan ko muna kung ano ba yung dala ko, yung mga katulad ng papadala na illegal. Lalo na pagka malaki ang tip. Maliit ang fare tapos malaki ang tip. Sigurado illegal na yung mga dala nun.
Quezon City Vice Mayor Julian Soto expressed concern over the situation, noting a decrease in drug-related incidents but emphasizing worries that law-abiding individuals are being exploited for illegal activities.
Meron down trend, may bababang trend for a certain bracket. Pero yun nga lang, may na-identify po kasi tayo na nagagamit yung mga riders po natin. That's why nagkaroon po tayo nitong event na ito para maturuan po yung mga riders on how to identify kung nagagamit na sila for illegal drugs.
To assist and safeguard Transport Network Vehicle Service or TNVS riders from being unwittingly involved in the illegal drug trade, the Dangerous Drug Board or DDB conducted a seminar. The session aimed to educate delivery riders on how to handle suspicious parcels. The seminar coincided with the annual celebration of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking or DADAIT, attended by some TNVS drivers. Among the attendees was Marvin Evangelista, head of compliance of a logistics company in the Philippines. Marvin highlighted the seminar's benefits in facilitating collaborative efforts among various groups to prevent contraband from passing through their companies.
Of course, meron tayong mga ginagawang safety measures regarding para ma-ensure natin yung safety and yung laman ng ating mga parcels. First, we have the know your customers pagdating sa aming mga VIP sellers. So we conduct very subtle investigation dun sa background nila. We ask for certain requirements na to ensure na they are legitimate sellers.
DDB Assistant Secretary Leng Matibag emphasized the agency's focus on TNVS riders during the activity, citing them as frequent victims of unknowingly transporting questionable parcels that may contain illegal drugs.
Well, ito'y hinahandog ng Dangerous Drugs Board, katulad ng Quezon City, government, at MMDA, ang LTO, at ang Philippine Public Safety College para kami ay makapag-spread ng kaalaman at kanyang awareness tungkol sa mga maaring maging possibility na consequences na kung ikaw ay magiging biktima ng mga unscrupulous na tao na magpapadala sa inyo ng mga produkto na illegal.
For Ben, this initiative is a big help for TNVS drivers like him.
Ito, maganda itong programa na ito.
Meanwhile, Asek Matibag urged the public to unite to prevent the spread of illegal drugs in the Philippines.
Sana maging conscious din tayo, tulungan natin ang buong pamahalaan na maging aware tayo against illegal drugs.
For God and my beloved Philippines, Almar Forzuelo, SMNI News.
After the data breach at a well-known fast food chain, the National Privacy Commission now has a warning to the public against cyber criminals. The NPC also has advice for citizens to protect their personal accounts. Creselyn Catarang reports.
The National Privacy Commission has laid out some suggestions to protect each individual's personal account against cyber criminals following a data breach involving customer information from a prominent fast food chain. Based on the report, cyber criminals obtained customers' names, contact numbers, IDs, and addresses. Attorney Rainier Anthony Millanes, Chief of the Compliance and Monitoring Division of NPC, underscored the possible misuse of this data by cyber criminals. He warned that it could be exploited for fake transactions, identity theft, or sold to syndicates for extortion purposes.
Pero most probably po, yung information na to ay gagamitin for the proliferation or pagdami ulit ng mga scam texts, scam phishing links. So
the NPC is strongly advising Filipinos to be smart, vigilant, and immediately inform the concerned authorities if they receive phishing emails or scam texts. Attorney Millanes emphasized the importance of regularly changing passwords for added security. He also recommended enabling multi-factor authentication to enhance account protection with an extra layer of security.
Kasi po, ang masasabi ko lang po sa password protection, which is single-factor authentication, it is already almost 2 decades obsolete po. So kung meron po, may posibilidad po na i-enable natin ang ating mga multi-factor authentication, tayo na po i-enable natin to para sa dagdag nating protection at protection ng ating mga accounts kung saan nandoon ang ating mga personal na datos.
NPC first confirmed that 11 million customers of Jollibee Foods Corporation are at risk of becoming victims of scams due to compromised personal data. The agency said it has notified other companies to prevent similar incidents.
Inaabisuhan ko na po lahat ng mga kumpanya na merong big data processing tulad ng Jollibee na mag-beef up na po kayo, mag-improve na po kayo on your cybersecurity. Huwag na po nating hayaan na pati po kayo ay maging biktima nito. This will definitely cause damage to the reputation of your organization.
For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Creselyn Catarang, SMNI News.
When we come back, the MNLF strongly condemns the actions of armed authorities on the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. According to the MNLF Davao City State Chairman, such violent acts, if proven true, are deemed unacceptable and violate the Islamic doctrine. And the United Nations raises alarm over the devastating flood in Brazil that displaced 500,000 people, killed dozens, and submerged various infrastructures. According to the UN, the climate catastrophe in the South American country is a warning to the world. More news after the break.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
so many who question me, why are you called the appointed Son of God? Isn't there only one Son of God? Don't you know that all of you are sons of God? Children of God, all of you. Children of God, sons and daughters of the Father Almighty. When the devil came and took over, we became children of the devil without us knowing it. That's why he sent his son there in the Middle East. His name is Jesus Christ, to be crucified on the cross so that you and I will become like him. I am from a Gentile nation. You are from a Gentile nation. My father and mother are pure human beings. He saved me first so that he could save you through me. He is looking for a body where he can dwell here on this earth that is not religious, that cannot be used by religion alone. He alone can use that body. And I told him when he called me, Father, I'm here, use me. And I came here, and the Father is using me. I am not being used by religion. I'm not being used by denomination. I'm being used by the Father Almighty. And He sent me here to tell you that this is now the time for you to become sons and daughters of God, just like me.
Back in the news, the state chairman of MNLF in Davao City is outraged over the alleged violent police raid on the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. For the MNLF state chairman, the police violent actions, if true, would be considered a grave violation of Islamic doctrine. Franco Baranda reports.
As far as the Islamic doctrines is concerned regarding warfare, itong jihad fisabilillah, attacking civilians is haram.
The actions by the police at the Kingdom of Jesus Christ religious compounds in Davao City are seen as unacceptable and a serious violation of the Muslim doctrine. On June 10, police forces reportedly stormed the religious compounds with excessive force, causing intense fear and trauma among missionaries. Armed with high-caliber firearms, their approach appeared more suited to war. MNLF Davao State Chairman Aziz Monk Olamit strongly denounced the government's handling of Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. He also commended KOJC missionaries for their steadfast resolve despite the ongoing threat of police intervention at their religious compounds.
Sa lahat ng mga member dyan sa KOJC, saludo ako sa inyo lahat for your sacrifices. Sa ginawa ninyo day and night to protect the kingdom at saka kay pastor, dahil minahal ni pastor ang lahat ng tao niya sa KOJC at binalik niyo sa kanya ang pagmamahal, talagang nakakatats. Napaluha tayo sa sakripisyo ng mga lahat ng mga member dyan ng KOJC. Tawagin natin itong mga devote. Sana ganyan ang taong bayan ng Pilipinas. Magsakripisyo sila. Despite of heavy rain, nandyan sila.
Yes.
That's a sign of sincerity. Talagang totoo sila.
KOJC missionaries are experiencing sleepless nights and they hardly have any rest due to constant surveillance and the growing presence of checkpoints by soldiers and police near their religious compounds. They remain vigilant amid the threat of another attack. The MNLF state chairman couldn't help but shed tears over the actions of Marcos Jr.'s administration towards his dear friend Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
Para sa aking kaibigan na si Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, you are still presumed innocent. Yung maggawa ng mga stories o fitna issues against you, which is not proven, you are still presumed innocent. At hindi naman ako naniwala talaga dyan. As a Muslim, we salute you and we are always at your side just be strong. Ang lahat na ito ay huhupa din. May hangganan din ang lahat ng ito. Huwag kang mag-alala, nandito pa rin kami, lahat ng kapatid mo. We are still on your side.
Monk is also calling on those responsible for the recent police violence, reminiscent of what former President Rodrigo Duterte termed the Day of Infamy.
Matouch ang the entire organization ng PNP.
Yeah.
Na siguro do not be enticed by money, whatever, ano diyan.
Tama.
Kasi kapatid din niyo yan, pamilya din ninyo ang mga tao yan, they're both humans. Kamagwak, hindi natin alam, kamag-anak ninyo yan ang nandyan sa loob dyan.
Exactly.
Maawa tayo. Hindi lang yan, just be human. Yun na lang, magpakatao na lang tayo.
For God and my beloved Philippines, Franco Baranda, SMNI News.
Good news for travelers. Are you looking for more affordable fares? Planning to travel soon? Well, you're in luck. Starting this July, airfares are set to decrease due to a reduction in fuel surcharges by the Civil Aeronautics Board. Let's find out more with Carla Abellana.
Are you planning to travel this July and searching for airfares that suit your budget? Well, here's some good news for you. From July 1 to July 31, take advantage of reduced plane ticket prices. Attorney Clarabel Anlaxina from the Civil Aeronautics Board or CAB announced that the fuel surcharge, which has been at level 6 for the past 5 months, will drop to level 5 for the entire month of July. Attorney Laxina emphasized that CAB considers 2 factors in deciding whether to adjust air tickets fares. This reduction in fuel surcharge means a decrease in airfares, making it the perfect opportunity to grab more affordable tickets. This includes their monitoring of jet fuel price movements and peso to dollar exchange.
Ito pong fuel surcharge po kasi ay base po sa movement po ng jet fuel prices sa merkado. So base po sa aming evaluation na bumaba po ang presyo po ng jet fuel sa global market. Kaya po napababa rin namin ang fuel surcharge natin ngayong susunod na buwan.
The domestic passenger surcharge will cost from over 100 pesos to over 500 pesos.
Bali po ngayon po makakaramdam po tayo ng pagbawas ng fuel surcharge sa buwan ng Hulyo na mula 185 to 665 for domestic flights ay mag-range na lang ito ng 151 to 542. So for example po, mga lilipad po, balak po lumipad po ng ating Manila Katiklan, punta pong Boracay, ay bababa po ng 54 pesos ang fuel surcharge at ito ay magiging 238 pesos.
For international flights, the surcharge varies from over 400 pesos to over 3,000 pesos.
Sa ating pong international flight, mag-range na po ito ng 498 pesos hanggang 3,703. Currently po, ito ay nasa 610 to nasa 4,500. So sa mga lilipad po, for example po, ng ating pupunta po ng Taiwan or ng Hong Kong, from 610, mababawasan po ng 112 pesos, so magiging 498 po ang magiging fuel surcharge.
CAB's decision to reduce the fuel surcharge is welcomed by Cebu Pacific and AirAsia Philippines. SEB President and Chief Commercial Officer Sander Lau views this as a positive step that will attract more passengers with affordable fares. Cebu Pacific is enthusiastic about offering low fares and ongoing promotions, along with new routes to Kaohsiung and San Vicente, Palawan, making dream destinations more accessible to travelers. Meanwhile, AirAsia Philippines, known for its commitment to offering the lowest fares, continues to prioritize affordability amid the fuel surcharge adjustments. AirAsia Philippines maintains this commitment through initiatives like its monthly double-digit sales and flash sales. For God and my beloved Philippines, Carla Abellana, SMNI News.
The United States imposed sanctions on dozens of peoples and companies that were accused of moving billions to support Iran's military. Melchizedek Cadiz has the news.
Assalamualaikum.
Tensions between decades-old archenemies Washington and Tehran escalated anew after the U.S. Treasury Department sanctions nearly 50 individuals and entities that it claimed belong to a so-called shadow banking network that funds the Islamic Republic with billions of dollars. The U.S. Treasury Department accused Iran's Defense Ministry and Armed Forces Logistics, as well as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC, of using the network to finance its activities. Both entities are under U.S. sanctions. According to the U.S. Treasury, the network helped Iran's military gain access to the international financial system and processed billions of dollars in money since 2020. The massive funds were allegedly earned from the sale of oil and petrochemicals. Some of the money was allegedly used to provide weapons and funding to Iran's proxy groups such as Yemen's Houthi group and to transfer drones to Russia. The action means the network's fund in the United States will also be frozen. Besides Iran and the United States, the U.S. Treasury Department also targeted dozens of companies based in Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates, the Marshall Islands, and Turkey. Iran has been battered with Western sanctions that affected its economy following Washington's withdrawal from a landmark nuclear deal in 2018. Reporting from Kuwait, I am Melchizedek Cadiz, your global citizen correspondent for God and for our beloved country, the Philippines.
The Prime Minister of Thailand dismissed claims by critics accusing him of selling the country following a government proposal to ease rules on foreign property ownership to attract overseas investments. Chad Mongon Pisamagazon reports.
A government proposal to raise the foreign ownership quota in condominiums and offer longer land leases received criticisms as tantamount to selling off the nation. Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin dismissed criticisms he is selling Thailand to foreigners. The statement was in response to a proposal by the Interior Ministry to increase foreign ownership from 49% to 75%, with leases extended for up to 99 years. In a recent meeting with government officials, several real estate organizations proposed to selectively apply the new foreign ownership rules to areas popular with foreigners such as Bangkok, Pattaya, and Phuket. Real estate executives in Thailand expressed support for the government proposal as a way to boost the domestic economy and attract more foreign investments. Laws and regulations surrounding 100% foreign ownership have partly affected Thailand's position as the prime investment location. Dubbed Thailand's salesman, Srettha vowed to prioritize direct investment and tourism as he inherited a stagnating economy during his reign. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Shadmongkom Bisamaikoson, your global citizens correspondent for SM9 News Channel.
Meanwhile, the United Nations urged Israel and Hezbollah to consider the escalation amid fierce tensions between them could spiral into an all war as cross-border exchanges escalate between the two warring neighbors. Gatiru Mori has the news.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres voiced his concerns about the escalation between Israel and Hezbollah along the so-called Blue Line, which serves as the demarcation line dividing Lebanon from Israel and the Golan Heights. Guterres urged both sides to avoid the risk of conflict and warned that the international community cannot afford to see Lebanon become another Gaza, with many lives lost and people displaced from both sides.
Let's be clear. The people of the region and the people of the world cannot afford Lebanon to become another Gaza. On both sides of the Blue Line, many lives have already been lost. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced, and homes and livelihoods have been destroyed. Bushfires sparked by explosions are further devastating communities and the environment. Unexploded ordnance and remnants of war litter the landscape. And these pose additional threats to people in both Israel and Lebanon, and to United Nations and humanitarian personnel. The parties must urgently recommit to the full implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701 and immediately return to a cessation of hostilities. Civilians must be protected.
Guterres warned further military escalation will only bring more suffering and devastation to communities in Lebanon and Israel. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the intense phase of fighting Hamas in Gaza is almost over, with the ground operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah to be completed soon. Netanyahu said Israeli troops are now starting to move to the northern border with Lebanon ready to confront Hezbollah. Israel Defense Forces Rear Admiral and spokesperson Daniel Hagari said Hezbollah's aggression is bringing both sides to the brink of war, with the Lebanon-based militant group to have fired more than 5,000 rockets at the Jewish state since October and is being used as a shield for Hamas.
The Hezbollah terror organization in Lebanon has been escalating its attacks against Israel. Since deciding to join the war that Hamas started on October 7th, Hezbollah has fired over 5,000 rockets, anti-tank missiles, and explosive UAVs from Lebanon at Israeli families, homes, and communities. Hezbollah's increasing aggression is bringing us to the brink of what could be a wider escalation, one that could have devastating consequences for Lebanon and the entire region. Hezbollah is jeopardizing the future of Lebanon so that it can be a shield for Hamas.
Meanwhile, Israel's military analysts have warned that an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah will be catastrophic for both sides and could be 10 times worse than their previous war in 2006. Recently, thousands of fighters from Iran-backed groups offered to join Hezbollah to fight Israel. Reporting from Dubai, I'm Gratero Omor, your Global Citizen correspondent for SMNI News Channel.
It will take 3 months to remove tons of oil-soaked sand and debris from Singapore beaches, with hundreds of personnel deployed for the cleanup operation. Anisa de Guzman reports.
A maritime accident that discharged hundreds of tons of oil in a day will now take months to clean up and reverse its damaging consequences. Singaporean Minister for Sustainability and the Environment, Grace Fu, said the oil spill cleanup in the Tanjong and Palawan beaches at Singapore's Sentosa Resort could take 3 months to finish. The Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, together with public and private organizations, have deployed more than 700 personnel for the cleanup operation. The maritime accident, which saw Netherlands flag dredging boat Vox Maxima hitting Singapore flag bunker vessel Marine Honor docked at Pasir Panjang Terminal on June 14th, resulted in a massive oil spill. About 400 tons of low sulfur fuel were discharged into the sea, spread into nearby beaches, and reached the shores of Malaysia. The incident caused cruise businesses to suffer losses after several beaches were closed, while some residents were forced to leave their homes due to the unpleasant smell. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Anisa de Guzman, your Global Citizen correspondent for God and our beloved country, the Philippines.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Sun. The more you imbibe the Word of God in your life, the more you acquire riches in heaven. And that's all for this edition. For more news update, you may visit smnichannel.com or follow us in our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook, and Twitter. For God and Country of the Philippines, I'm Frederico Velloso, and this is Newsline World.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell
to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.